Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to this week's Ponderous Wednesday. I hope you're all having a fantastic week so far. For those of you who are new to the channel or don't know, Ponderous Wednesdays is my output for a interesting or thought-provoking rambling style video where we take an interesting topic and have a good old natter about it here on YouTube to get some interesting discussions going in the comment section. And boy, have we done that over the last couple of weeks with the do not buy silver and buy silver videos which I've put out. And if you haven't checked those out, please do go have a look. The links are down in the description below. But a lot of you might have expected that I would do a video today on some reasons to buy gold in 2018. And whilst I might touch on some of those points in this video, because I've got a brand new 1 ounce gold coin to share with you guys, today's topic is actually going to be something a little bit different. And that is, how much free silver have you got contained within your stack? Now, when I say free silver, I'm not referring to the free coins that you might have got through promotional offers or gifts or whatever it might be, dealer error. I'm talking about how much free silver, and indeed potentially gold as well, have you got within the weight of your existing coins. Now, what I mean by that is these are all 1 ounce coins or 1 ounce bars you've got over here, or a kilo bar as well. And I know I've shown this bar quite a lot over the last couple of weeks, but it really is one of my personal favourites in my whole stack. But I promise this is the last you'll see of it for the foreseeable future. I probably will get it out again at some point, but enough's enough. But anyway, my point is that, you know, a lot of these coins will weigh different amounts, and they will weigh slightly above 1 ounce. So it's going to be an interesting and thought-provoking subject, I thought, to talk about why that is. What you can potentially do with that free silver. You know, is it actually silver that you can ever use if you've got enough quantity or get some value out of, and just sort of have a good old thought about it. So you'll notice that these are just random Britannias that I've picked out from some of the what I call melting tube stacks. So these are all just Britannias which I've had for a while, and as you can see, I don't particularly pay good care and attention to them. You know, I've got my dirty, grubby hands sitting out on them here, and some of them are in pretty shabby condition. You see this one here with a giant fingerprint in the middle, and that's because sometimes, you know, I just can't be bothered to keep these coins in as great condition as I could, because I'm going to melt them one day. You know, they're just going to end up in the melting pot. They're going to turn into hand-poured silver coins, and sorry, hand-poured silver bars. And that's just the way it goes with some of the Backyard Bullion stack. But anyway, enough about my coin handling. What's really interesting is that these coins don't weigh exactly 1 ounce. Now, you might be confused about that because the Royal Mint has stamped 1 ounce on them, or they've, you know, put 1 ounce on them. But there's always a weight tolerance allowance. Now, there's a completely different topic, and I've put a link down in the description to this video because I found it absolutely fascinating about how we know what a kilo actually weighs, or what a gram actually weighs. You know, it's a very, very interesting topic, and it actually varies country to country sometimes, and even continent to continent, depending on so many different factors about what's been calibrated on your particular scales. And, you know, you're never going to get two scales which are perfectly calibrated to the same amount, same tolerance, certainly unless you've got, you know, access to some really accurate scales within various laboratories and things like that. So the scales which I've got here are, you know, relatively cheap and cheerful scales that you can buy off Amazon. I bought them for, I think, about £7, $5.99 or something like that, and they weigh up to 200 grams. Now, I have done my best to calibrate these as best as possible. When I first got them, they were a little bit over. They were putting probably about 0.2 of a gram on everything. And you better be asking, well, how do you know that? Well, what I've done is I've calibrated them to the best of my ability, and this is kind of exemplifying the point which I'm trying to make in this video, that Royal Mints and various mints around the world will have a certain amount of tolerance on their coins. Now, this particular coin is supposed to weigh 34.05 grams when completely brand spanking new. Now, this is the newest addition to the Backyard Bullion pension stack. It's a 2011 1 ounce Britannia. It's something which I've really wanted to get hold of. You know, these big Britannias, I've got some of the 2017 versions, and I really, really wanted to get hold of these as a long-term pension stack. Whilst I've talked in previous videos that silver's very good, gold really is still you know, a big focus for me going forward. Now, this one, as you can see, is 34.0304 grams. This one has you know, been used to calibrate these scales. Basically, it's meant to weigh 34.05, brand new. It's 22 karat gold, which yields 1 ounce fine gold, in case people were wondering. So I've got these scales pretty much weighed down perfectly. And with gold, the Royal Mint and various other mints will have much stricter tolerances on their coins. Now, to exemplify that, let's pick up a random Britannia and have that on there. So 31.17. Now, theoretically, that should weigh 31.18 105. So we've got 0.06 of an ounce, or 0.06 of a gram extra silver in there. If we put another one on there, this one, now this says 31.09. That's fine for me. It's you know, about the scales being perfectly accurate. Perhaps this gold coin has got an extra 0.01 or 0.02 of weight in it, but that's a pretty much close bang on number that you can get. Another one here, 31.07. So maybe I'm a couple of 0.0s out, but overall these are going to be pretty much perfect. But then you get some like this, 31.27. Now for you brand new silver stackers out there, you might be quite worried when you pick up some of these silver coins and you see this complete weight disparity that's happening between them, and you might be thinking some of the heavier ones perhaps are fakes. Well, you know, you can check the actual dimensions of the coin to make sure, but pretty much if you're getting a Britannia that looks the same as the other ones, even if it weighs a slightly different amount, and we've seen there a difference of 0.2 of a gram between two of these coins so far. There's another heavy one, 31.2. You know, it's not really the end of the world, it's just free silver. But is it free silver that you can ever actually use? And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, it's hardly very much silver in here at all. Another one that's slightly under on my scales, but again, it's all about how you've calibrated them, and I do think these are as calibrated as they're ever going to get, but as you can see, we've still got a huge disparity between two of these coins. So these two, for example, we've got 31.07, 31.24, so we've got, you know, 0.18 of a gram of difference there. So can you ever use that silver? You know, it's small fry when you've just got 1 or 2 coins out here, or even 25 coins. It's not going to add up to a lot. But if you have an average disparity of 0.1 of a gram over, you know, quite a lot, well, let's do some math. So over 1,000 coins, that's going to be 10 grams, is it? Yes, I think so. 10 grams of silver. That's quite a lot of silver, you know, and can you actually utilize that free silver that you've got? And I guess the answer is probably no, really, because unless you're actually going to melt them all down and make them into hand-poured silver, you probably will then notice the additional silver which is in your stack or in your weight tolerance allowance there. But ultimately, if you're going to sell these Britannias to a dealer, they're just going to pay you as if they were 1 ounce worth of silver, which is, I think, a really fascinating thing. So I think, you know, is there a way that you can actually make money from this? Could you buy 10,000 Britannias, melt them all down, resell that exact amount of weight to a dealer? And we're all talking theoretical here. Of course, you'd have had to have bought these Britannias at exactly spot price, and the spot price would have had to be exactly the same. But it's really interesting, you know, if you could actually think about doing that and actually earning some extra money. Now, one thing that you can do, certainly potentially on that side of things, and again, it's going to be about whether you can buy them at spot price, is for hand-poured silver, because hand-poured silver has much different tolerances. So you can see here, well, these 2 bars are going to be pretty good because these have been mass-produced. Although, there you go. So even between these 2 bars, they are very different. So we've got 32.28 and we've got 31.23. And I can sympathise with these Prospector Golden Gems bars because I've had similar issues with pouring the 1 ounce silver forum bars. So we've got this one from 2017. This was the one I kept for myself, and I chose one of the heaviest ones that I poured. Of course I did, because I'm keeping as much free silver as I can. But you know, my tolerances for the 1 ounce bars were around about 33.5 grams as a maximum weight of silver. And the reason I did that, and I guess it's probably a similar reason that the mints do this, is because the amount of time and energy and material that it costs me to remelt this bar and re-pour it and maybe get it right, and you've maybe seen in some of the previous videos, it can take me you know, 1 out of every 3 or 4 bars perhaps sometimes ends up being a wasted bar. And if I can cut down the amount of time that I spend making them and the amount of resources in graphite crucibles and furnace running time, then it actually pays for the volume of free silver that I'm giving away. You know, if I spend an extra 5 weeks trying to get them all 31.1 grams or very close to that, it would cost me way more in graphite crucibles than it would in free silver. So, you know, it's a really interesting premise. So with these, you know, if you're paying for 1 ounce worth of silver, you know, 2 of these bars should weigh 62.21. So, you know, you've got 3 grams of silver there nearly. Can you melt them all down and resell them for extra money? It's a really interesting, thought-provoking topic, I think, and I don't know. I mean, it goes both ways as well with the giant pieces. So we've got here some bigger scales. I hope these are going to show up on the camera. But this kilo bar, first thing I did when I got it was weigh it. And look, 1,004. Hope that's showing up on the camera, but 1,004 grams. So you've got 4 grams of extra silver contained in there. And at current spot prices in the UK, that amounts to about, well, about £1.20 in free silver. So it's a really interesting, thought-provoking topic. And I'd love to know your thoughts on it and whether you've experienced similar things throughout your stack and throughout your kind of journey with silver, and whether or not it's something that you've ever taken advantage of. It'd be very interesting to know if any of you silver pourers out there who perhaps buy large quantities of melting coins have ever noticed that. You know, if you've put in, if somebody's asked for a 10-ounce bar and you've put 10 ounce or 10 1-ounce rounds in your crucible and then you've poured it out and it's been 10.1. Have you ever experienced that? I think it's a really fascinating experience, and it's something that a lot of silver pourers should maybe take attention of, because if you're in the business like perhaps MK Bars is, or one of the big manufacturers out there, perhaps you should be buying 1-ounce coins instead of buying silver shot, because silver shot can be weighed to be very accurate amounts, and in fact that's what I use to actually calibrate my scales. You know, you can use shots and you get micro fractions of grams with the different sizes of pellets. But yeah, so is it something to consider? If you can buy these rounds for a really cheap price, they're going to be slightly heavier than the declared 1 ounce. Over 1,000, 10,000 coins, you might well end up with quite a significant amount of free silver. Anyway, that's it. I kind of thought it was a really interesting topic, and it was all spurned from watching this video about what the definition of a kilogram is, how we know what a kilo weighs. It's a fascinating video. I'd highly recommend you go and watch it. They've got some really interesting facts and figures about some of the disparity that might be out there between what a kilo weighs and what a kilo should weigh, you know, based on some science. So go and have a look at that video. Otherwise, last thing is I'm just going to show you this Britannia again, because I really do love it. It's a fantastic new addition to the pension stack, and it's one which I'm sure I'll focus on In Focus Friday at some point in the near future. So if you want to see that in more detail, then please do make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already and you want to see more interesting videos like this, then please do subscribe and hit that alarm bell, because if you do, you'll get notifications when I upload future videos. If you want to support my channel, please go over to my website and check out all of my hand-poured silver, and if you would like to make a purchase, it goes a long way to supporting everything that I do here on my YouTube channel, and also everything that I do with my hand-poured silver. So please do go over to my website and check it out. The last thing to say is if you could put a thumbs up on this video if you liked it, if you enjoyed it, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of the week, and please make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe for more.